What is up, guys? I am Tyler Klein, and I am the host of the Everyday Faith podcast. And join me today, a guy with a wonderful name. Just happens to share the same name as me. Married 12 years, has 4 kids, about 10 years in the NFL, and loves to surf. Things we'll
Yes.
get into. Man, a friend of the show, Tyler, and Tyler, man, I'm thankful for you to be here on this podcast and for us to have just some fruitful conversation. So thank you for joining. Just some fun, quick questions, man, that I love to rattle off just to kind of break the ice, man. How does one? I might have even asked you this same question on my other podcast because I have like a little bit of fear of the ocean. So how does one like come to love surfing?
It's well, first of all, yeah, thanks for having me on. Love being on here. The surfing was interesting. I feel like just living in Jacksonville. We've been here coming up on 12 years now, and I always see everybody surfing. And once I retired earlier last year, I thought, man, like, I was ready to just like branch out and just try something
Try
new,
some new
kind
stuff.
of. Yeah, because football. I mean, that had been at that point like almost 30 years of my life, because
Yeah.
I was playing
Yeah.
since I was in kindergarten. And I've tried running. I did some running and stuff, and I enjoyed that. But I was like, dude, I want to take a surf lesson. I'm here in Jacksonville. Why not? And I took a lesson. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I got a buddy who had a board that let me borrow it. So I took 2 lessons, and it was kind of one of those things that you try something, and I just want to get to where I can do it, and then not master it, but
Yeah.
say that I can do it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And by the time I got to that point, dude, I was hooked. I mean, there's just something about being out in the water. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but
Yeah.
just getting away, like truly getting away. There's a few things in life that you can do. Sports is one of those things where
Mm-hmm.
when you're really playing, like you're away from all the distractions.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing with fishing. Fishing was that with me for a while, where I could kind of get away. But once again, like your phone still works. You know what I'm saying? People
Yeah.
can still
Yeah.
contact you. But dude, something about being on a surfboard in the ocean. I don't have my phone on me. I don't have. I mean, there's people out there, but it's like, I mean, you're actually like immersed in nature. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I
Yeah.
remember being out there and seeing some dolphins go by, and
Maybe a
you
shark or
know,
two.
I've seen a few sharks, and yeah, dude, just you're in it. There's nothing. There's just
Yeah.
nothing like it.
Would you say that's like your maybe like your quiet time with God sometimes? Like everyone has like their own little thing. Like that's got to be kind of cool. Like are you like a sunrise kind of guy? Or are you out there in the middle of the
Yes,
day? Dude, that's got to be beautiful though. I will say that's got to be beautiful.
it's one of my favorite things. I just showed my wife the other day. There's a guy here. He does a surf report. He takes pictures, and they had one of me and a couple guys like walking out, and like when I'm talking, like the sun's just barely over the horizon,
Yeah.
and those mornings like that, man, it's quiet. You're sitting out there by yourself sometimes, and I mean you're just in the middle of the ocean. It's just cool to see like how small you are, and also sometimes like when the waves get bigger, it's a cool reminder. Like, dude, like I am such a small person, a small part of like all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like how big, how grand God is, and I think that's what's cool is like that He gave us cool stuff like this. That He gave us like sunrises and
Yeah.
just going out there, dude. And like I said, just sitting in the water watching the sunrise. Um, it truly is like I said, dude. That's my quiet time. That's my. There's like times like I've gone out there and I can just like almost just get emotional because you're like just
Yeah.
overwhelmed with like just thankfulness.
You just get like a cool little glimpse of like how loving God is because of how much time he took to like make these like beautiful little moments. Like I try
Yeah,
to I've never hunted my whole life and I'm from Pennsylvania originally, so like deer hunting's
yeah,
massive in Pennsylvania. And so
yeah.
like I started to get into boar hunt down here with a buddy of mine. And man, there is something about like a little similar to yours, but different because it's in the woods. But like when you get in the woods and it's pitch black and the sun starts to rise and you hear
Mm,
the woods come alive a little bit,
yeah,
because like there's always a moment we stop and we're kind of like, like kind of addressing like where we're at, what's moving, and you just have this peace where there's nothing around you. It's just you in the woods. The sun is rising. You're like, wow, like this is
Yeah.
beautiful. Like, and just in the grand schemes, like I can't imagine what heaven's gonna look like one day. You know,
Right.
you see these little
Right.
glimpses. So it's beautiful, man. I don't know if I could surf. I like going to the beach, but
Yeah.
I'll have to try one day. And fishing. I've never fished in Florida. Fished in Pennsylvania, but never fished in Florida yet.
It's good. Both of those are great in Florida, so
Yeah.
give them a
Now,
shot.
now you have 4 kids and I have one. How has being a dad changed you the most?
Man, I mean, there's so many ways it's changed me. One, as you, I mean, you know all these things, but one, I realized like how selfish I was
Yeah.
before with my time,
Yeah.
especially. I remember thinking when we had our first kid, and it just feels like what in the world, like where did all the time go? Like
Yes.
what did I do with all my time before? I can't. How did I?
Yeah.
It's such a perspective shift because you sit
Yeah.
there and think before this I had no one before I had anyone else to take care of. Like, what did I do with my time? Like,
Did I just come
and
home and
honestly,
sit on the couch? Like, what did I
just
do?
that's it, dude. And I just thought like it was a showed me how much time I was actually wasting. You know,
Yes. Yes.
not doing anything productive.
Yeah.
Uh, and then yeah, every kid after I'm like, I can't believe I thought I was busy then. Like, now we're sitting at 4, and I'm like, goodness gracious. But it's great. It's truly great.
I've always told people when you get married. So I have been with my wife for almost 7 years, like together, like dating, marriage, all that. But I've been married 2 years, and I always said marriage like was a reflection to you because it
Yeah.
really points out some of the flaws in your life.
Yeah.
Um, and man, when you have a child, like that was the first thing that came my mind before you said is man, like selfish, and also I mean, like the amount of times I could lose my patience so fast. I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like
Yeah.
this little boy doesn't know.
Yeah.
And like just an example, like when me and my wife tag team bedtime, like I'll sit in the nursery with her. Like I have my little spot on the floor where I'll lay, and if she needs anything, I'm right there. And there's been times where we've both had this conversation where like if he needs us, like man, it's like you get a little upset, but it's like why am I upset? Because I wanted to look at something on my phone, because I
Yeah.
wanted to finish the movie I was watching, or I wanted to finish the clip. Like that little boy needs me, so like I need to grow up and I need to be a man because like this is something I wanted, and God blessed me with it to be a dad, and so like I need
Yeah.
to be the man I need to be. And man, it is a huge. I tell this to young guys my age at work that don't have kids yet. Like it is just a reflection of how much God shows that you need to work on your character. And it's an amazing thing because we're not perfect, and every day there's something we can work on.
Yeah.
Man, fatherhood is the best, and I love it. Um, Another question. So, like, I love asking people this question on the podcast: is was there someone in your life that influenced your faith? Like, you following Jesus? Like, I believe you said you have been going to church most of your life.
Yes. So I grew up in the church. I'd say my first big influence was obviously my parents, but also so my grandfather was a pastor,
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
and that's the church I went to growing up. So that was really my biggest influence on just he very much shaped how I viewed what someone is, like what a good pastor is, what someone who is very pastoral.
Yeah.
Um, he was just the epitome. He and my grandmother were just the epitome of like just loving their church. He was kind hearted, um, very much just shepherded his flock well,
Yeah.
and did it with it just I'm trying to think of how to explain. Just did a great job of protecting, but just being gentle with it. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times people can fall into one camp or the other if it's kind of overly like beat you over the head with the Bible or like
Yeah. He was very neutral
but
ground kind of vibe.
or very much like hey like you know your sin's fine like we all sinners like
Yeah.
and I feel like he did such a good job of holding a high standard
Like almost putting you in
but
check, but in a loving way. Like,
in a very loving way. Just holding a high standard of like and like you wanted to follow him or wanted to know more about
mm,
God because the way I'm sure you've met people where you're like, dude, I want what you got, man. Like
yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
contentment, you know what I'm saying? The contentment, the empathy, the gentleness, like
Yeah.
were all things that I just saw oozing out of him.
Yeah. You ever meet another Christian who is just like, man, so on fire for God, and you feel like there's not a unperfect bone in their body. You're like, man, like what flame do I need to keep going here to get what you have? But
Yeah,
I love that. So was he a big influence on like so you had a great example growing up of what that looks like. And then I believe you said 12 is when you came to Christ?
yeah. I was around 12. I was at church camp. Dude, I had yeah. It's like the I had like the storybook like child like Christian growing up childhood. Like
Yeah.
my grandfather was a pastor. I went to church camp. I got saved there, baptized at
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, uh, by my grandfather and some people's pool, and then all this stuff. But
I'm right there with
that
you,
is
man.
great. But I also had there's so many great people in my life, so many great, honestly, a lot of great coaches.
Yeah.
I was very
Yeah.
blessed to truly like from the time I was first time I stepped on a football field, a wrestling mat, to my time in the NFL. There's always been the coaches have just been such a strong influence and good influences. They're
Yeah.
not, um, and I know that's not everyone's experience. And so, like especially like high school and college for me, dude, everyone was such strong Christians.
Oh man, that's awesome actually.
Yeah, especially in college, man. With Coach Sweeney at Clemson, because that dude lives his faith out loud,
Yeah.
and he's not ashamed of it. And every position coach I had was the same way, just solid dudes, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so that's super cool.
Now, was there a time now you know you have this life where Christian household, going to church, going to camp, good Christian coaches. I mean, did you have a struggle? Like, was there a moment like you were like, I don't know if I really do want to do this?
I think the struggle
Because I
came
feel like
later.
as kids are growing up, like there's so many different influences, like certain friends, certain things, and it's
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
No, the struggle came later in life for me, honestly, because I think that's the thing is before it was the only thing I knew,
Oh
and
yeah,
everyone kind of fell in line. I think what was harder was as I got older, it almost became like the monotony of it, of like, because I had always gone to church and always done this, and I just kind of got into like a rut of like,
mm,
oh, I just do this, like, oh. And then I think as I got older, I could like in my 20s, I think is when I realized like this isn't really my faith.
mm.
This is just the faith that I picked up from my parents and grandparents. And
Ooh,
there was some time that I had to do some wrestling and kind of figure out, okay, well, what is it like? What is it that I believe?
yeah, yeah, that's
Because my
good.
parents are like, well, I always believed this, or I always thought, baptism meant this, or um, you had to be saved to do this or that, and like, and I just remember thinking like I never questioned any of it growing up, just because it's what the people around me said. And then I
Yeah,
think when I
yeah,
got a little bit older, I was like, I can't say that that's mine. This is what someone else told me, but I'd never questioned it and
yeah,
looked into it for myself, dug down, and
yeah.
kind of found that foundation. And so I did some wrestling, like I said, in my later or like mid to late 20s.
So was that
Um,
your way in when you because there's a lot of young adults and there's a lot of people I know that have that same similar situation where like my mom is a very powerful prayer, like she is my Christian faith, like I we go to church every week, and that's how I'm living my life through Christ. You know what I mean? And there
right,
are a lot of people that get to that point, they're like, is this me? Like almost
right.
like a false identity.
Yeah,
And
I
so
would
like
say
how did you deal with that?
dude, I just had to like dig in. And if my wife was, she might be listening, but if she was sitting right now, dude, she's been the biggest influence on me lately, because the one thing she talked about is, um, as we grow up, especially if somebody grows up in the church,
Hmm.
it's kind of like here, like you're just kind of spoon fed the Bible,
Yeah.
but you're not taught like why you believe what you believe.
Yeah.
At least for me, I feel like it was very much like well, you believe this because the Bible's true. Don't question it. Like, you can't question it.
Yeah.
And that's what I really struggled with, dude. When I was in my, like I said, I was in my 20s. I was like, that first time that I started feeling those questions, I was like, this is wrong. Like, I am being a bad Christian right now.
Yeah, man.
But
They
then
say
when I
it's
started
good to have
looking at it,
questions. They say it's good,
yeah,
have some
when I started
questions.
looking at it myself, you look in the Psalms, and there's times, you know, David's questioning, like he questions God. Job goes toe to toe with
Toe
God,
to toe, man.
and
He let it
it's
rip.
funny because I think about it, because like in my prayers, I'll be like, like even when stuff's going hard, I'm like, whatever your will, God. Like, that's not how people prayed in the Bible, dude. They said, God, like, where are you at, man? Like,
Yeah,
go up.
yeah. I like that.
And
I like that.
it's just like, dude, I think once I realized that, I was like, dude, now it's a real relationship. Because think about any relationship you have, dude, where you have friends, or not, maybe not friends, or just people that where you're like, I don't know them well enough to like press them a little bit,
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
ask the hard stuff.
Mhm.
And you can say, yeah, like I know that person, but they're not like close. Like, the strength of a relationship comes from the like, it's from the breaking and the repairing. I've heard it said like it's like a muscle. Like, the way to make a muscle strong is you have
Mhm.
to break it down, and it gets stronger through the repairing. The same thing with
Yeah.
any relationship with people. Like, if you've never fought with someone, if you've never fought with your spouse, it's probably because y'all are both living surface level. Because that means you're not
Yeah.
truly being yourself.
Gotta
When
have
you're
some
truly being
tension.
yourself and they're truly being their self, like us just as being sinners, there's going to be friction. There's going to
Yeah.
be breaking. But where the strengthening comes is like in the repairing. And that's
Mhm.
it. There's no difference with God. If you've never like felt any kind of friction or questioned anything, like, it's kind of like, are you really being true to yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Yeah,
I and I
go ahead.
think that's where it comes, dude. Just like that for me, like the strengthening of the relationship with God was when I questioned it, and then kind of wrestled for a minute, and then God kind of laid it on my heart, or put people in my life to talk me through this stuff, and then
Yeah.
it just strengthened that relationship.
Man, I like that. I like that because I don't think God wants us to be robots. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I
Yeah.
think God wants us to have some questions sometimes. I think God wants us in tough situations to be like, I trust you. I'm not going to complain here and say why, but like, what am I learning? Like, what is the like to have these questions and to come to him and press him, because he's a loving God, and
Yeah.
he has been down here. He's experienced it. For us to
Mhm.
not be robots, be like, okay, God, we got this. Like,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that perspective. That's good. So you were in the NFL, and we'll cover this just a little bit, but what did it look like to live your faith in such a high performance environment, and also an environment where it is a business at the end of the day, and in one day you could be cut, in 10 years you'd be cut. And I mean, like, were there moments your faith was really tested during that time in the NFL?
Yeah. Honestly, I would say, looking back on it now, it was kind of the best thing for my faith
Ooh.
was being in that high stress environment, because um, that was the time, dude. Like, I'm telling you, during the season, during training camp, there wasn't a morning I wasn't on my face just being like, God, like, I can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to get me out. Like, you're gonna have to help me put one foot in front of the other. I'm tired of doing this. It's too hot. Today's gonna be a grinder. These guys are so much better at football than I am. Like,
I just want
what's
to go
going on?
serve.
I just want to go try something. Yeah, sir. At the time, it was more fishing, but dude, it was. I didn't realize it at the time, but like having like just having that constant friction
Mm,
made me like turn to God,
yeah.
and I'm thankful for it now, because, like I said, like the harder part is when that friction's gone, when there's nothing to like cause that, like, okay, I need to rely on God, because
Yeah.
uh, that's where the comfort is what kills you.
Yeah.
Well, when nothing, like when you're just kind of not doing anything, when it's easy to just stray, because you're like, well, like I don't need to read my Bible. Like,
Been training
I'll
all
get,
day.
yeah, or like I'll get to it. I've got, like, for me, it's like, oh, I've got plenty of time. I got nothing to do the rest of the day. I'll get to it.
Yeah.
And you never really get to it. And it's like, I'll do it tomorrow. But
Yeah.
like when you're like I said, when I'm in that high performance environment, like I was like, dude, like I need this because I can't even step on that practice field if I don't at least, you know, say like get in the word for a second and just get my mind right.
Yeah.
But it's honestly like I think the hard part's like when I'm not doing that because I get in that very much like I'll get to it.
Yeah.
You know, that's all right. I got nothing else to do today. Like I'll eventually read the Bible. It's just like that's the hard part for me.
Yeah. I like that. Now, you mentioned good coaches. Now, were there some good players in your life too that like you guys could have a good Bible study or they'd put you in check like, hey man, like how's your walk with Christ going?
Yeah. The couple that come to my mind immediately are we had a tackle here in Jacksonville, Kelvin Beecham.
Mm,
Um, dude, what a great guy. He was a great guy. He helped me learn a lot in the sense of being like kind of being the hands and feet of Jesus in the locker room. You
ooh,
know, the way he
yeah.
just the way he interacted with guys. He was always there. Um, even when maybe guys weren't talking about the most God honoring things.
Yeah.
He did a good job. Like he was like always around but not partaking, and everyone knew where he stood. But
So
like
he was like Paul, he could go in certain rooms but still hold truth to who
yeah,
he is.
yes. And I saw he did such a good job of that of not isolating himself because he was a Christian and being like, well, I'm not even gonna go hang out with those guys because um, you know I'm doing this. It's like, dude, he did such a good job of like being in the world, not of it. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stefan Wisniewski, one of our centers, was another really good, just a good guy in the offensive line room. That
Yeah.
he was another one when you talk about like just had a fire, like that he had a fire inside of him for God, and it was just cool to see. I remember he was one of the first people I've seen like he was at church one night, and I just remember like watching him worship. Uh, Kind of convicted me of like
Yeah, I
it's
bet.
because like, I watched him. I was like, if we say we believe the same thing, but like he looks like he believes it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I
man.
was still like, hands in my pockets, just kind of like
I was just
swaying a
gonna say
little
that.
bit. And then, like, dude, he was like worshiping, like, and I remember feeling that conviction of like, dude, like he looks like he believes what he believes. Like if you videoed us and muted it, like you would think that like I was at a funeral and
Yeah. It's important to have like you see people like that and you're like, what's wrong with me? Because I believe in God
yeah,
and I love God. And I feel like I can only speak to men because I'm not a woman. But like as a man, like sometimes we go in a room and we want to size each other up. We want to look around like, man, like, do I want to raise my hand? But at the end of the day, it's
yeah,
like, man, there are people in other countries that are worshiping God and could possibly die. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And like
mm,
I love God and I believe in God. And why should I? It's like in Galatians, like, why am I worried about whether men are believing in me? Like I'm here to follow God
yeah,
and I love God. And so if I want to stick my hand up in the air because I love this song and I love God, I'm going to give him all the glory. Like, who cares? Man, I have the
yeah,
same convictions though. And man, it's just, I asked you about friends because, and this is like a check to friends who are listening to this, like who have friend groups as Christians. Is that I asked my friends the other day, we finally got to hang out after like, man, life gets busy. You know what I mean? So you have those friends that
yeah,
like you want to see. And I say, guys, I need more of this. I need you guys to put me in check in my group chat. Like, I don't want to just be those friends that every like once a month, like, hey, how can I pray for you? Like, man, text me once a week, like, hey, are you reading your Bible? And if you are, like, hey, what are you going through? Like, let's hear it. Like, how can I really pray for you? Like, how is your heart lately? Like, I feel like we get good Christian men in our lives and we kind of like get content. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I feel like we need to be better at like really leaning in, really putting
yeah,
guys in check in a loving way and being like, hey, like, just how can I be there for you? Because you
yeah,
just never know what guys are going through. You never know what men and women are going through.
yeah.
Just a little
Yeah,
spiel.
like you said, dude, yeah, especially men. Like men, it's just so different because when I
Well,
watch. with my wife and her friends, I think it comes so naturally,
Yeah.
that
You got to pry it out,
uh,
man.
yeah, it's tough. But when you find guys, like, yeah, you gotta like just kind of like sink your claws in, hang
Yeah.
on.
Hey, but that's an important lesson though for marriage though too, because one thing I struggled with was I was not open to sharing my emotions. Like if I
Yeah,
was dealing with something, she could tell, but I was cool not to talk about it. Like I'd be like, hey, like I'm fine. But that's not
yeah,
good. That's not good for you. You know what I mean? That's
right,
not good for your relationship because who knows where her brain is going then. She's not a mind reader. She can't read my
yeah,
mind. And if you need a minute to think about it, it's okay to say, hey, I am dealing with something. We're cool and I love you, but like I just need a minute.
yeah,
Oh, so let's talk about it. I'm excited to talk about a world that we live in now. Social media. What is on social media? The influences of this world. We have AI now, so you don't even got to write an essay now. I mean, I could
yeah,
type in AI on Chat GBT and be like, hey, I want to write a book, and it's gonna be about two guys named Tyler, and it will just write
yeah,
me a novel.
yeah.
Um, so what do you think social media is doing to young men and women today? That like, what do you think it's doing to their ability to hear God clearly?
I think it's just killing it. We talked about this earlier. One of the things I didn't come up with this, I'd read it, but they talked about social media and the internet in general has given us almost like a God complex of
Yeah.
omniscience, of all knowing, of like, I have access to all information that I could ever want.
Yeah.
Like you said, Chat GPT, like there's no information that you don't have access to. Like
Crazy.
with that, and that's the world that we live in,
Yeah.
for good and for bad stuff. I can look up thousands, millions of recipes in a minute, but be I can see all this bad stuff that's going on in the world. And I don't think that we
Yeah.
were meant to know all these things. I don't think we were meant to be in contact with as many people as we're in contact with. Like,
I know, man.
we're so spread thin. You talk about relationships. We have hundreds of friends on social media, but we don't check in with all of them. And I know
Yeah.
I feel this a lot of times too. Is like I get overwhelmed because I'm like, oh man, I need to check in with this person. I need to check in with this person. I need to check in
Yeah.
with this
Yeah.
person. So now I've got a phone and I can check in with them, which is great. But every person I've met in 34 years now has access to me, and it's like, and I feel this
Yeah.
need to like respond to every text message, and it's just, I
Yeah.
think it spreads us thin in general. Um, we were just not meant to have like only God was. That God is the only person that is powerful enough and to like
Yeah.
to be able to handle the all knowing.
Mhm.
We are not God. We don't have that ability. So when we
Yeah.
try to take on all of that, we try to take on all these relationships, we try to take on all this information, all the bad stuff that's going on around the world. We try to take it on and hold it. Well,
Yeah.
we were not meant to, and that's where you
We're
see
not.
just this. It's just this crippling uh, of our minds, and yeah, I just think it
Mhm.
makes it so hard to hear God because we're constantly just feeding ourselves
Oh my gosh, it's terrible.
to like
I
to turn
mean,
it off. It takes. I mean, well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. It takes 2 seconds, and you're just itching to pick your phone back up.
dude,
You're
yeah.
itching to like find something, like, and then it'll be like, I haven't heard from God lately. Well, yeah, dude, like,
No crap.
I gave him 2 minutes. Like, where, like, he didn't
Yeah.
show up. Like,
Mhm. Man,
yeah, like read the
there's
Bible. There's a lot of people that wait a lot longer than that.
yeah, man, there's so much that I wanna say about that. I mean, at church sometimes, like, one of my pastors used this analogy where he had a bowl on stage, and
Mm.
he just put all this stuff in, it was so full. And he's like, "This is your life." And it's like,
Yeah,
where is God in this bowl? Right? Like there's just so much that feeds into us and takes our time away. And man, just an example of like how you were saying information overload. Um, I saw this video because I'm a dad, so I see baby videos, and this girl is like going on and on about how like this is the way you're supposed to do it. This is the way you're supposed to do this, and she's like, "This is crazy." She's like, "Our parents did not have access to this much information on how to raise a child, and now you don't
yeah,
know what's right or wrong because everyone has an opinion, and there's thousands of hundreds of thousands of people on social media." So we do live in a world where I helped teach young high school kids before I had my son, and man, I would always ask them. I said, "Hey, let me see your screen time," and it's
yeah,
like great 8 hours a day on your phone. It's like, man, like we are living in a world where it's hard for kids. Do you remember like when we were growing up, like you went outside and it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, my wife used to hammer me on like all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, like, like it's just the way it is now. But like now having a kid, I'm like, man, like I want to raise him like a 90s baby. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to give him a screen until as long as I can. Like there's so much distraction. It's hard to even hear God's voice, like you said. And
Yeah.
so like, I guess I would ask you the question, like, what are practical ways to like protect your mind? I mean, to protect what's shaping you. I mean, we want to hear people are like, well, I can't hear God. And like you just said, like, yeah, because you can't stop scrolling. I mean, let me ask you, Tyler, like, have you ever deleted, like, occasionally I'll delete Instagram or I'll delete Facebook or I'll delete any kind of social media for like a week to see if it's controlling my life. And there have been times where I reach my phone out and the first thing I do is I go to look for them. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm addicted. Like
Yeah.
that is what the dopamine of that app has done to us, because
Yeah.
I can watch a 3-second reel that I'll never remember again. And
Right.
it hits your brain. And so I guess like, like young adults who might be struggling like this, like what would you say to them? Like, hey, like here's how you should probably like protect your mind. Not only because there are unbelievable things that are going to shape you and you're going to see some things that could destroy your mind. I mean, you could see half naked girls on Instagram nowadays and it's not even like it doesn't raise red flags, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
how would you protect your mind? How would you tell people to like, hey, these are some things you should do?
Well, I think one, I'd just like to say that I'm going to say this as someone who struggles with it just as much. Like
Yeah.
it is a struggle for me because it's super easy after we get the kids to bed, and I'll just sit on the couch. I'm just like, I just want to veg for a second.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, I've been sitting on my phone for an hour, and I'm like, what am I doing, dude? I should have been in the bed. Like,
Could have got an extra hour of sleep.
yeah, and I'm just, this is so stupid. But one of the things I think that's helpful for me is like I thrive on a schedule. I think
Yeah.
we all do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And just creating a schedule where it's like, and leaving time for that. To me, it's almost like any diet. Or they say, like, what I'm saying, like you can go on a diet and you can't go. You can go and restrict calories and cut out all that stuff, but like if it's not sustainable for the long term,
Yeah.
then you're just going to fall back into those patterns. So I think the same thing, like, hey, yeah, it is fun to get on social media sometimes and look on there,
Yeah.
but just have a scheduled time and be like, all right, like this is a whatever it is, it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you decide. Just say, hey, this is like set a block. This is the only time I want to like look at this app on my phone or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And then just having scheduled time for everything else, because like I don't know, I feel like it's so much easier when it's scheduled and you just have like a schedule, you just stick to it. For me, when there's idle time, when it's like, oh, the kids are in bed at 8, or we got them to bed a little bit earlier tonight, 7:30. Like I got nothing to do till 10.
Yeah.
Well, when I got nothing to do till 10, I can tell you it ain't going to be anything productive. But when it's like, you know what, like, all right, like I've already said, like, I already told myself after the kids go to bed, I'm going to read for 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm going to, whatever. My wife and I are going to watch a movie or a show,
Yeah.
like once it's scheduled, and then be like, yeah, like, I'm going to get on my phone for 20 minutes, like,
Mm-hmm.
but have stuff blocked around it so that
Yeah.
way it can't just take over.
Yeah. Man, I think it is so important for anyone listening to this podcast to like understand how to prioritize time with God. We do live in such a busy world and it's only going to get busier. Like there's just so much that's coming out. And if you allow all the information that's out there, I mean, you think about politics, you think about war, you think about everything that is accessible that you can go on Twitter, X, if you call it X, you go on Instagram, you go on Facebook. I mean, there's families that are fighting over things, and it's like, man, if you really don't get a good schedule where like I need to prioritize God and I need to, and if that means you need to delete a lot of apps off your phone so that you can start tuning down the noise of the world and hear God more. Because man, if you just get sucked into it, like not only will it influence you and shape you, like man, you might start to get fear from what's happening in the world. And God is not a God of fear; He's a God of clarity and not confusion. Like there's just so many things that we need to protect ourselves, and the Bible tells us to protect our bodies, protect our minds, protect our hearts, protect our spirits. Like it's not good. I always, like we live in a world now where like having an interaction like face to face is awkward now.
Yeah.
And that's just so sad. Like you look at your neighborhood, like I always tell my wife, isn't it crazy that we don't talk to any of our neighbors? Like
Yeah.
they're all right there, but yet like that's just not how we are. Like it's like you said, like we're just so consumed by it. But yeah, man, I just think like that's what I'm trying to do lately is like, especially having a son now. Like once he goes to bed, all right, now I have time with my wife. And if we're both laying in bed and exhausted, and I can see that we're both just scrolling, I'm like, hey, what are we doing? Like we could just go to bed. Like that's the simple solution. Just go to bed. But
Yeah.
like you're just missing out on moments of life. Like what could we be doing this moment? Like we could be reading the Bible together. Like we could just be go to bed. We could, I don't know, dance around the room because we're excited to be together, just something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But there really just needs to be some guardrails in our lives. And if we don't, like it could lead us down a different path.
Yeah. For sure.
So let's see. I guess you might have explained it there, but like are there some habits that you have instilled in your life that have stopped you from getting just so much of an information overload?
Yeah. One, like just setting screen time. Uh,
Yeah.
that's kind of, I say it's kind of, I know that they have like the brick thing now. I don't know if you've seen that where you have to like
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
tap your phone. I think I don't have one, but I've heard people love it. I think setting screen times, I think just, like I said, just having a schedule, dude, of like only allow myself so much time on social media or like, dude, I don't know, just having a purpose. It's almost like when you go to the grocery store, like
Yeah.
go there for a reason and like go get what you need. It's like, hey, like, you know what, like I want to get on social media and I'm going to look at like, I want to see what's going on with like the surfing, like with like, who went surfing today or what kind of fish were this guy catching. But like, it's like when you just go and like I'm just going to sit here and look around. I think
Yeah.
that's when you get into like, then you start doom scrolling or you're like, oh, like, did you hear what this person said or that person? It's like, you're just kind of looking for trouble. Like if you know what I'm saying? If you just go without having a purpose. And
Yeah.
once again, I'm saying this to myself as well. But
Hmm.
I'm by no means an expert. I struggle with this as well. But
I love it.
yeah, I don't know. There's probably a lot of people that could get a lot better advice, but this is just my thoughts on it.
No, I love it. I love it. And I guess I guess like a healthy relationship with technology, like if we had to talk about that, would be like you said, like set in a time, right? Like
Yeah,
limiting yourself. And there are so many apps I believe they have that help monitor like what are you going on, what are you clicking,
yeah,
like you said, the brick, like that, like almost will push you to like, hey, is there anything else you could be doing? Could you be doing
yeah,
anything more valuable with this time?
right.
um is there anything else you wanted to speak about with social media or information overload? Because I got about one question left for you before I take the rest of your time up.
No, I mean, I think one of the things you said it popped into my mind was we talked about our parents not
Mhm.
having the information,
Yeah.
um, or you talked about the parenting information overload, and that's one of the things. Like my wife and I've talked about this a lot too. Is staying off social media has been also, or being on social media too much was bad for our parenting for a while because we did the same thing, dude, where we'd watch it and we're like, we let our kids eat Cheerios and
Yeah.
that means they're going to get this. Or people be on there like, you can't let your baby drink out of a plastic bottle. Like, what are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. You
Poison
need
them?
you need glass.
And right. And then
I have a glass bottle for my
there's
son.
all these things. We had some, we went back to plastic. They're like, we're just microdosing. They got to get used to it. But they, a lot of times too, it's like I've seen people like attach morality to these things like, well, because I don't eat whatever seed oils and all the bad stuff, like I'm a good person. And
Yeah.
if you allow your kids to eat this stuff, like you're not a good parent.
Yeah.
And I feel like we talked about that as like we fell down in that trap for a while of just being like we're not helping our kids out. We're being bad parents because we're letting them eat Cheetos and whatever. But then it's funny because like we talk about it, and I'm like, yeah, and I had Pop Tarts every single morning growing up. And on the flip side of that, we say things like, I can't believe my parents did this or said like they talked to me this way.
It's like they didn't
And I
know,
think
man.
they did, like I said, they didn't know they didn't have any of this information. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think that we do that too, where we hold our parents accountable for for information that they didn't have. They
Mhm.
were just doing the best they could at the time. And I feel like that's another thing I've seen a lot is that we've villainized our parents and how they raised us,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though they were doing this was their first time doing it, and it's just like they were figuring it out
Yeah.
just like we are. They
Just like
just
we are
didn't
right
have
now.
any. Then they just didn't have it because like dude, like yeah, like when our kids are in their 30s, like they're going to come out and be like, your parents, like you won't believe like them letting like glass
My
bottles
dad
was
didn't give me a plastic bottle, man.
yeah, yeah. Um, they'll find something else to say that we
Yeah.
did wrong. And so just having empathy for people, I think, you know, like I said, like just that's part of the information overload. Is like we lose empathy for
Yeah.
people because we're
Yeah.
like, how could you not know this? Like, well, dude, who? It's going to change again tomorrow.
It is. I
Like,
love that. I love that
yeah,
because I'm reading a book right now. It's called Grace in the Gray.
yeah,
And what I love about what you said, man, is like there are some of us as Christians, but not even just Christians, but people in this world that we have a view on something, and our view is correct.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like we're gonna
yeah,
die on this hill. Like you're wrong. And what I love about this book, man, is it really kind of helps me look at myself, and it's teaching me to show grace in gray areas. Say politics, say health, food, say any kind of conversation,
yeah,
to understand that like I may have a view on something, and you may have a totally different view, and that's okay. And
yeah,
I to look at myself and say, how is my posture in this conversation? Am I coming across cocky? Am I coming across with hatred? Because at the end of the day, man, like I want to put myself in your shoes, and I want to walk him and understand, where did he come, like how did he come to this conclusion?
yeah,
And no matter what, like allow me to show you grace, because when Jesus came down here, man, like there are times that Jesus, like, man, like he hit some solid points. Like they were probably a little starstruck. But man, like there were just so many times he was showing such love and grace to people as he communicated. And it's just so easy also to bring in social media and just a lot of information. It's so easy to see the algorithm, and you're seeing these clips, and it's fueling you up and fueling you up. And then like you're just like, this is my point, and anyone that doesn't like this point is wrong. And then you start to
yeah,
lose friendships, and then you're not being an ambassador for heaven at that point. And so
yeah,
I like that mindset that you have, that like there are like things now where it's like so much information where now we're like, well, why were we raised like that? Like they should have known better. It's like, no, man, there's just
yeah,
so much information accessible to us right now that no one knew. Nobody
right,
knew. You know what I mean? We all need to take a deep breath. Take a
yeah,
deep breath.
for
Tyler,
sure.
the last question I have for you, for any young dads out there, is how are you leading your family spiritually in such a busy, demanding world and life now that we have?
So I think one of the things I've heard, and I try to do my best at it. I'm not great at it, but one is we talk about just like talking out the things that you know, like just talking about everything, like making it like if my kid comes down and he sees me, or if I read my Bible in the mornings before the kids get up. If
Yeah,
they never see that, it's like in your head, you're like, well, I'm doing it. And I tell them they should read theirs, but they don't see it. Like they need to see you doing these
yeah,
things. They need
hmm
to, and then you need to talk through it. Like, um, you know, a lot of times kids are just, they watch you, but they don't know what's going on in your mind.
yeah, yeah,
So you need to like talk these things out and be, you know, hey man, like that scared me, or that I had a question about that. And that's like, you know, I prayed about, hey, this happened and I prayed about this, or hey, I need to apologize to you for talking to you this way. Like, I think just over communicating to our kids, allowing them to see kind of behind the curtain of what's going on in our mind.
yeah,
Because for them, like they can only see us. they can't read our minds. They don't know what
Yeah.
we're thinking. So like
Yeah.
I think so much of us over communicating that stuff, like kind of giving them into like, oh, like dad has questions too, or
Yeah.
dad doesn't have it all figured out. It's okay to not have it all figured out. Because I remember
Absolutely.
that too. You know, that time where the first time you have questions about if it's your faith or whatever, and you're afraid to ask them because you're like, well, I don't think no one else struggles with this.
Yeah.
No, dude, like everyone does. It's just they don't talk about it, and
Yeah.
that's why I think it's like I said, that's the over the communication part is so important of
Yeah.
letting them know, dude, that like yeah, like me too, man. I struggle
Yeah.
with this. Obviously, like use some discretion, but allow them to know that like we all wrestle with things. Just allow them to see us struggle.
I like that because then it teaches them too, like to communicate how they're feeling and to understand it's okay to not have it figured out. Um, I love
Yeah,
what you said too about like, reading your Bible and allowing them to see it because I think, and like we've heard it, like kids learn more by actions. I mean,
yeah,
my son has no idea what I am saying to him, but we have been able to teach him how to clap because he's seen how we're doing it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So like
yeah,
if you are instilling things in your life, like I think something that I struggle with is like, man, when I get to the dinner table, like how fast can I say this prayer so that I can get this food in my belly?
yeah,
Like I don't need
yeah,
I don't need a 20-minute prayer, but like, man, like I am so thankful though to pray to God and let him know that, hey, I'm thankful for this food. I'm thankful that you provided this family for me. And to like show my son,
yeah,
like, hey, like we're gonna pray to God and like we're gonna really show him like we love him and we're thankful for him. Not just a thank you, Lord, for this meal. Amen.
yeah,
But like
yeah,
but like reading my Bible, like not only do I want my son to see, like I want my wife to see, like, hey, like I'm all in for this and I want you to be on board with this too. Like there's just little things we can instill in our everyday life, waking up early, read our Bibles. And I want guys to see it. Like I work in construction and man, I want guys to see it through me. I don't want to live a life for Christ. And when I get to construction, I fall into like dirty jokes or just a life that's not like, I want guys to know I'm different, but I'm still here to love them. And it's okay. Like I'm going to be
yeah,
in the conversation with you. Like, but like, I want people to see it. I want people to see my actions. And so I love
yeah,
that view that you have, seeing the actions.
yeah.
Well, Tyler, I thank you. Thank you so much, man. Second time I got to hear some of your story, this time more on the faith-based side of your story. And it's great, man. You're great. You're a great dad. No one said it too. You're a great dad.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you too, brother. I
I
appreciate
pre-
you having me on too.
of course, man. Of course. This is great, man. I'm just hoping I'm just trying to share a little wisdom to the young adults that are growing up and hope that we can learn to give time more time to God, man. But I appreciate you
Absolutely.
and hope everyone likes this podcast and man, I will just see you guys next time.